Welcome, everyone, to the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals podcast series, featuring great discussions, insight, and resources on all things related to education and administration. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 4 of the MASSP podcast. My name is Ryan Casey, and I'm excited to have a special guest join us today, and that is Tony Parsons from MCAN, which is the Michigan College Access Network. Tony, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Thanks for having me this morning. I'm really excited I can be with you to kick off Season 4. Oh, my goodness.
That's right. First one slated. Very cool. Can you just share, Tony, a little bit about yourself? What is it that you do for MCAN?
Sure. So as Ryan said, my name is Tony Parsons. I am the Strategy Assistant for High School Innovation here at the Michigan College Access Network. In a nutshell, my job, my day-to-day is to kind of oversee our statewide initiatives, which is basically College Bound Michigan, which we'll get into just a little bit further. I also work to support some counselor professional development, as well as our professional learning community, which goes to work with our college advisors who are kind of working in a counseling role, but who are not counselors, but work to support students as they navigate the college-going process. Just a little bit personally about me, I'm a Metro Detroit native. I've relocated to Lansing. I actually went to Michigan State University, graduated in 2016, so it's really nice to be back where I went to college. Makes me happy every single day to wake up in Spartan country. Beyond that, I really enjoy theater, and I'm actually one of 24 kids in my family. And I'm the first one out of that number to go to college, so feel pretty fortunate to be able to kind of work in this space as well.
All right. Well, then that makes total sense. With a family of 24, being able to support others that are trying to find ways to make it to college. So I guess for people who aren't sure exactly, I know you touched on it a little bit. We have principals that listen to this, some teachers, obviously guidance counselors. What is it that MCAN actually does, or how do they support school students and parents?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say about that is that MCAN, we're an intermediary organization, meaning that while we work on behalf of students, we do that by providing resources to support the adults that directly serve them. We do not directly serve students in our capacity. And then at the end of the day, our big mission, is to just increase college readiness, participation, and completion among first-gen, low-income students and students of color. And then the big goal, the driving force behind all of the work that we do, the reason we all get out of bed in the morning is that we want to just increase the percentage of Michigan residents with degrees or post-secondary certificates to 60% by the year of 2030. And we do this through a variety of different ways that support schools, students, and parents. It's really kind of neat just based on the programming that we have. So we have the ability to kind of advocate for systematic change, on the school level, through state action, through our external engagement team. We can also leverage community resources to help support schools and students and parents, build a college-going culture, be connected to resources, that sort of thing through our local college access networks that we oversee, through our community and partner mobilization department. And then we work with school personnel, counselors, principal superintendents, that sort of thing, with our high school innovation department, which actually houses College Bound Michigan. And we also have the ability to partner with schools to support them and support their counseling staff by placing college advisors in their schools through our Advise Michigan program. And so through the different branches and arms of MCAN, if you will, we're kind of able to support students, schools, and parents through a variety of means, based on what's best for them. And I think that flexibility is really something is unique to MCAN and something that I think is really helpful.
Excellent. You mentioned this in that last answer, and I saw some of this, I think, out in Twitter, maybe over the summer, but you recently launched a new program. I think it's called College Bound Michigan. Can you just explain to our listeners, what is that, and how do schools get involved if they are interested?
Yeah, so College Bound Michigan is brand new. We actually launched, our official launch date was the end of April. So I can't believe it's that long ago already, but it's an innovative statewide campaign that's really aimed at helping students navigate that final year of high school as they move through what we consider the college going process, right? And so College Bound Michigan, in a nutshell, is one campaign with three separate components that kind of interweave and flow into each other. Those components are Michigan College Month, the College Cash Campaign, and Decision Day. And they're all spread out throughout the course of that senior year. And they really work on doing, the big things that need to be done to go to college. So Michigan College Month really focuses on getting students to apply to college, right? The big goal for that month is that by the end of the month, every senior at every school that's participating will have applied to at least one college. And it's interesting, and it's important to note that MCAN defines college as 2-year, 4-year. We also look at certificate programs, right? So it's anything post high school that's going to give you some sort of credential. Is how we define college. So we're always happy to have students who are going anywhere post high school that will give them some sort of degree or credential. Then we transition from Michigan College Month to the College Cash Campaign, which lasts from November 1st to March 1st, with Michigan College Month being all of October. And that's really focused on getting the FAFSA completed, right? So once you've applied to college, we need to make that connection of, now you've applied, we need to understand how we pay for that. And, what is a grant versus a loan versus a work study versus, a scholarship, right? We really want to spend those 5 months or so working through the FAFSA, working through a financial aid award, and really understanding what money is available and what that money actually looks like in practical terms. And then we transition from College Cash Campaign to the third phase of the campaign, which is known as Decision Day. And this roughly corresponds to around May 1st, but it's really flexible in terms of when the schools will celebrate this. But the goal here is to just celebrate, right? We're saying, congratulations, you've made it through this entire school year. Let's celebrate your post-secondary plans, whatever those are, because you have a real future ahead of you. And despite what that looks like for you, because it'll be different for everyone, it's worthy to be celebrated because you've done a lot of work to get to that point. And so we're really excited to do this program. And schools can get involved simply by registering with us online. We have a one-stop solution where they can register for all three events, or all three initiatives rather, through one application or one registration. And once they've done that, then we'll have all the information that we need to be a successful partner. Because one of the nice things about signing up for College Bound Michigan is once you do, you'll be connected to a plethora of resources on how to plan different events, different ways to get media engagement if you so choose, different giveaway items, different things that we can provide to help. We understand that this, especially if this might be your first time doing something like this, that it's kind of scary, but we want to make it as easy and fun as possible. And we really believe this will be a lot of fun for all the schools involved.
That's awesome. And so can they just go to the micollegeaccess.org website to apply for the College Bound Michigan program?
Yes. If they go to mycollegeaccess.org or and go right under the statewide initiatives tab, they can click on the tab that says College Bound Michigan, and it will be right there. It'll be a big green button that says apply or register. I believe it says register.
Awesome. And we'll include the link in the description when we send this out for anybody who's listening. So that really sounds like a helpful program. I worked in smaller rural schools as a teacher and administrator, and I know that I would have taken all the help we could get as we were trying to work with kids on, promoting a college going culture. So this seems like a really, really good opportunity for schools to get involved.
Yeah, we think so. Our goal is to get to engage with every high school that wants to engage. And really, College Bound Michigan, while it is aimed at the seniors, right, because they're the ones who are applying to college, there's a lot of ways to draw in the underclassmen as well through the different initiatives within the campaign. And so our goal is that a high school starts to sign up, and then they keep signing up. So that way, that freshman who's experiencing Michigan College Month, in the 2019-2020 school year, by the time that they're a senior, they'll be so excited and jacked for College Bound Michigan that they're chomping at the bit, right? That they want to be a student leader within this campaign. And so, yeah, we're really excited for what this program has the potential to do, not only just for seniors across the state who participate, but for the underclassmen who are going to start to experience a lot of these things as well.
And that's a good point about some of the underclassmen. Recently, it seems like the pendulum's kind of swung in the state, and that more focus is being put on having students become career ready. So maybe shifting away from only college, but becoming career ready, whether it was through legislation from the Marshall Plan or other bills that are supporting that avenue. Do you find that our schools focusing more on careers and maybe trade school options than before? And if so, what is MCAN's response to those who think that maybe those avenues are now maybe somehow more important and practical than trying to get a large number of kids off to college?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for that question. I think this is something that we as the state of Michigan find ourselves in a very unique position to kind of talk about sometimes. And the first thing I'll say on that is that MCAN is a huge proponent of moving away from the idea that it's either college or career, right? It shouldn't be one versus the other. We need to start talking about it in the idea of it's college and career. Because you really can't have one without the other. And if you think about, going straight into a career post high school, a lot of those careers at some point are going to require a certificate at the very least to kind of stay competitive within that field. And so it's often the fact that, yes, I might go straight into the workforce, but at some point I do need to go and get some sort of credential, right? And the way that we define college at the Michigan College Access Network, and I think in the state more broadly, is just any organization that can give you that credential, right? So that could be a 2-year degree, that could be a 4-year degree, or that could be something you get, through technical work as well, right? Through our CTE type programs. And it's really important to note that labor market trends are going to demand that most jobs that will provide immediate income or standard of living have some sort of formalized learning beyond high school, right? So we can't really get away from this idea that, yes, you can have a career, but you do need a credential to back that up. And I think, and I like the pendulum analogy that you brought up. I find that, if we talk and we swing the pendulum one way versus the other way, and we go too far, whether it be towards college or career, at the end of the day, it's the student that's going to lose when we do that. And so I think that we need to kind of, find a nice middle ground and understand that it's college and career, not college or career.
That's a good point. I like the idea that, why keep them separate, right? That's a great point. Some of you've mentioned now, there's kind of like these 3 different phases or really important, maybe even events that are going to happen throughout the school year. So if you could just reiterate those again, like for schools, what are like application month or when FAFSAs are, can you just reiterate like those important dates that maybe they're going to want to mark down on their calendars just to make sure that they can start planning around those, especially right now, it's the beginning of the school year, students and teachers are coming back. We want to get these marked down now so then we have a plan in place for how we're going to celebrate or promote or run those different events.
Yeah, definitely. So College Run Michigan officially kicks off on October the 1st with the beginning of Michigan College Month. Michigan College Month, which again is focused on getting students to apply to at least one college or university. That lasts the entire month of October, so October 1st to October 31st. And we do that because we want that flexibility to be built in, right? So if I'm a counselor or I'm that college advisor, I might not be able to work with every senior every day, but by having the entire month, I'll be able to be flexible and get to all of my students. And so that runs from October 1st to October 31st. Then College Cash Campaign starts immediately after that. That officially starts on November 1st. That will run through March 1st. And we really give that amount of time because we know that the FAFSA is it's an arduous form to fill out. I can still remember being, 17 and being the first one in my family to go to college and being like, I don't know what any of this means. And so we give that amount of time because it just takes a lot longer to fill out a FAFSA. We want people to understand that, and we want parents to be involved because you need that involvement for FAFSA. And March 1st is really the state priority deadline to ensure the maximum amount of state aid as well. So we try to get it in line with that. And then for decision day, it's really flexible, but really the date you want to keep in mind for that is May 1st. By May 1st, students do need to commit to the school they plan to go to. However, we can understand that based on the school schedule and how everything shakes out, you might hold your decision day event earlier, you might hold it later.
Mhm.
This past year, I went to one that was as early as mid-April, and I also attended one that was almost right around Memorial Day. But you really kind of want to keep that May 1st number or date in line, because that is the day you do need to submit to a college and say, I'm going to, for me, it was Michigan State. So,
Got it. Do you so whether it's college month or FAFSA and the college cash campaign decision day, do you have any schools that do a really, really good job, or maybe some people that, you know, principals or counselors would want to look up or get a hold of that do these events really well?
yeah. So just off the top of my head, when I think of Michigan College Month, there are a couple of standouts that I've seen. One of them being Morley Stanwood High School. They do a really good job, in my opinion, of just creating a college-going culture within their building, right? And so Michigan College Month, one of the other goals besides just getting students to apply is really building up your college-going culture. And from the teachers all the way to the counselors to the students, I mean, it's very inherent that everyone there is on board and really wants their students to succeed. So they do a really, really good job right there. If we look at numbers as well, City Middle High School in Grand Rapids just blows it out of the water with about 941 apps submitted last year, and they only had 120 seniors. I mean, that's just remarkable,
Wow,
right? So almost every senior is submitting upwards of three, 4 or 5 applications. I mean, that's
that's awesome.
fantastic. And then Chandler Park in Harper Woods, they had 154 seniors, and they were able to submit 542 apps. I mean,
Wow, yeah,
these are schools that are committed to the cause, and it's evident that it's not just their counselors or their college advisors; it's everybody in that building, because you don't get numbers like that unless there's a ton of staff commitment and district-wide commitment to making this happen. And so those are some I would love to highlight right there. When we talk about the college cash campaign, there are a number of standouts. A lot of schools that that I would consider standouts are schools that are hitting above an 80% completion rate. And again, City Middle High School is right up there. They're above 80%. Detroit Cristo Rey is another really good example of what can be done, or Detroit International Academy for Young Women. There's just a lot of great schools that are able to kind of make that push, right? And one of the things that we like to do with the college cash campaign is we like to see improvement from year to year as well
hmm
for some of our returners. And so it's really, really great to see that some schools are hitting above that 80% mark, especially when our state average, our most recent state average for FAFSA completion is sitting at 63.4%. And so really getting that 80% is fantastic. Um, and then with decision day, the nice thing about decision day is because it is so flexible, schools are really free to kind of just to design what they want their decision day to look like. But if I had to, really give some shout outs, I would say one is Howell High School.
hmm
I've never seen district-wide engagement on the level that I saw it at Howell High School. I mean, we talk about getting underclassmen engaged in these initiatives. I saw kindergartners, first graders. I mean, everyone in that district came to Howell High School's field house to celebrate these seniors.
that's
And I
awesome.
think if we can start to plant that seed as early as kindergarten to say, in 12 years, that is going to be you on that stage. I mean, it was just so humbling to be there and to experience that.
I
And
know
just to,
they do a really good job showcasing that. I think I've seen that before on Twitter and on social media.
yeah,
It's
I thought it
really
was,
quite an event to see. So yeah, Howell's a good example.
yeah, it was just really, really cool. And I'd also highlight Allegan Tech Center as well. That's where they hosted it. They brought all the high schools together to that tech center, and they had like a carnival. It was really, really cool. They had food and giveaways. They had panels, right, to kind of discuss like how do you transition from high school to college.
Cool.
And so I would give a lot of props to their counselor, Regan Tubbs, who did a really good job of coordinating that. That was their first time doing it in this carnival format, and really working with the 4 high schools in their area to make that happen. And so I would just say they're very innovative, because it's kind of hard to logistically manage 4 different high schools
Yeah.
to get them to have one big carnival. But it was really nice to see that. So those are some of the schools I would highlight. And if people are definitely interested in connecting with those high schoolers or those high school counselors, I'm sure I'll give my contact information. I'd love to put you in touch if you need ideas.
Awesome. And there's so much. I know so many schools are doing such a really good job of promoting this stuff, as I mentioned on social media. So I know that's really one of the best ways is if you see something cool you hear about, reach out to people. People are really good about sharing these ideas because a lot of these people, they've seen it themselves at another school and they just tweak it to make it their own. And so it really builds and grows. So there's some cool stuff going on. And you just mentioned it, Tony. So you talked about a lot of really cool programs that you guys have going on and how you can support principals, counselors, students, parents. So if somebody does want to get a hold of you, can you share some of your contact info?
Yeah, I would love to. So the easiest way to always get in contact with me is via email. I'm never more than like 30 feet away from either my phone or my laptop. Just by the functionality of being a millennial, we can never put our technology away. And so my email address is just my first name. So that's Tony@mycollegeaccess.org. But it's interesting to note that My College Access is micollegeaccess.org. So that often trips people up a lot. So Tony@mycollegeaccess.org, or they can always give me a call at 517-816-7768. That's the direct line to my phone. And I'd love to chat with people. I'd love to get them plugged into College Around Michigan and, really create this movement, right? It's going to take a statewide movement to get us to 60% by the year 2030. That's only, 10 years away, but we've got a lot of work to get there. And I think it'll take all of us to do it. And so the more schools we can get connected, the more people we can get to join that movement. I think Michigan's best days are still ahead of it if we can all come together and make this happen.
That's awesome. Well, I just really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the podcast today. So again, that was Tony Parsons from Michigan College Access Network, otherwise known as MCAN. And if you liked what you were hearing today on the season 4 episode for the podcast, remember we have all sorts of podcasts on the MASSP.com website. You can also check us out on Twitter by following @MASSP. We thank everybody for listening and have a great day.